Welcome to Simply Happy Conversations, a podcast that teaches you how to create a clutter-free, functional and simply happy life. I'm Narelle King, a professional organiser who supports families with practical steps to simplify their lives and create a more organised home. I'm passionate about supporting neurodivergent families and individuals like myself. Over the summer, I'm taking a break and sharing a top tip series featuring insights from our amazing guests in 2024. Did you know that 80% of holiday photos are taken on a smartphone? The average person takes 300 photos on a holiday and over the festive season. 50% of holiday photos are shared on social media, so it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of memories that we capture. Today, I'm sharing a top tip from Gray, the portrait photographer from Simply Gray Photography, and author of the book 50 and Wiser Club. She will share tips to help you organize your holiday photos with ease and in little time. To listen to the full conversation, head to episode 139 or check out the recording on YouTube. Let's jump into this top tip around organizing photos with Gray from Simply Gray Photography.
And at the end of the trip, I can look at my favorite ones and be like, those are a great collection. Let me go delete the other ones.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Or, oh, you know what? I really want to keep that one. And then I will usually create a folder for that. And then if I create, then it's easy if I want to do like a download to blurb or something like that to make a photo book, they're all there.
That's great. That's a good
And what
tip.
I tend to do, and instead of oversharing on Facebook, which I do sometimes. I do a lot. I'll post just one picture each day because my kids hate me posting a lot of pictures right now. So I'll post one picture each day. Probably won't have my kids in it. And I'll just write a little reflection on that day. And then if I want to do a photo book, I have that on whatever social media I use. So then I can do that and put all our photos for that day. And it's not necessarily we did this, and this, and this. It might have just been like how I felt and how I loved that city or one memory from that city from that day.
Yeah. Oh, nice one. The other thing is
anyway,
recipes.
That's what I do when I travel.
Recipes, I find. Taking a photo of a recipe and then you're like, where's that recipe? So I've got a folder now.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So that I can actually just go straight to that folder and find the recipe. You know, I mean, most of the time we see it. But, if you're waiting in a reception and you see a photo in the magazine and you're like, oh, that sounds good. Or I don't know, just seeing it somewhere. It's like, oh, take a screenshot. Or even actually I've taken screenshots on Instagram of people's recipes and gone, yes.
Yeah.
Because I've saved it, but I'll probably never go back to that recipe folder in my Instagram. But I am probably more likely to go back and see the written one. The other one was calendars. So we have a family calendar, which we do for my mother-in-law. And so putting a folder for that year, and that's where they're saved. So every year they're already ready.
And that's a really good idea.
Yeah. And
you know what? Actually, we used to make calendars for my mom and my mother-in-law too. I say used to. I haven't done it in a couple of years. But actually, that is a fabulous way and I have another idea of how to keep your memories that I wanted to share with your listeners. But that is a great way to use those 10 to 20 to 50 top images, because you can automatically create a calendar if you don't want to do a photo book and just print off an extra version for yourself. And even if you don't use it as a calendar, which you might as well, you have that, like you have it printed, you have those pictures printed for the year. So those calendars are a fabulous idea. Who do you use for your calendars?
Officeworks. Oh, not Officeworks. Sorry. Big W. And just because I've got the same.
Big W.
Yeah, I just have it there. And my family have one. So one of us take it in turns and have to make the calendar. It rotates around families. And then we all have to provide 10 photos. And then I do one for the other side of the family, which is just my own family, my immediate family. And so and then that's ours as well. We have a copy of it. But next year I'm thinking I'm going to actually make that into a photo book. But I do find now that my kids are a bit older, like I'm constantly saying, can we just get a calendar photo? And they're like, no. And so I don't really have that many photos as much as what I did when they were younger. They love to pose, whereas now that they're teenagers, they're like, no, unless I use the calendar. I'm like, please, we need some for the calendar. We need 10 at least, or 12, one for each page. So yeah.
That's right. Well, that's good. Yeah, you know what? That's true to have that to have it for the calendar, because they don't. My kids are nearly 14, nearly 17 and 18 now. And it is a bit tough to get them in the pictures. So actually, should we go to your next question?
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
because I have a tip for people on that if they don't want to do besides the calendar, because I didn't even think about one, but that's a fabulous idea.
Yeah. So what other ways can people organize it? If they didn't want to keep, as a calendar, they don't like the photo books, what else would you have? Or is it the photo book?
Well, okay. So this is something I've done. And it was a bunch of photographers in 2009 in Australia started a photo a day project.
Oh, yes.
And I highly recommend this. So if you're out there like, oh my God, I have no pictures of my kids, or I don't have any printed, or, this is something anybody can do. And you don't have to have kids to do this, to be honest. You could just do it with your gratitude and stuff like that. So we started, because here in Australia, summer is January. We would do a photo a day in January. And most of us had young kids at that time, so it was around the kids. But basically what we had to do is we had to one photo a day. Now, that was in 2009. Now, I know it's crazy to think we take multiple, but you just process one photo for that day. Okay. And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be, I do them now on my iPhone because I still do this project. It was 2009. I still do this project. And what I say now to my kids is, we're going to do a photo a day this January. You can help me decide what we want to have in it, because, because it's hard. It is really hard. So, and actually, we were in Japan. So my photo a day in January was a lot about our Japan trip. And yes, I did take some pictures of my food because the kids didn't always want to be in it. But what I did is I had one photo a day. And I do actually post it on a social media. I do it on my Facebook page. Sometimes I do it on my business account. Sometimes I don't. Depends. And I will just put a little phrase, like a little something, like what that photo meant. And then at the end of the time, I will create a book with it. Now, I'm not perfect either. I'm a bit behind on my books. But here's from 2010. And now I just use Blur, but like 2010. And my kids still love looking going at through these. Yes. So that's what. And like, so my son's going to hate me, but anyway, but look, like that was like, he's now 17.
Yeah. That's
brushing his teeth. Like it was as simple as him brushing his teeth.
Yeah.
Like, and I just wrote, I love watching Sean brush his teeth.
Yeah.
Like just as simple as, here's one, like the kids weren't around. So I love sunflowers, It can be what you're grateful for. It can be, anything. Oh my gosh, my daughter, like that. Now she's nearly 14 and there she,
oh, wow.
a bump. And I have like, here's the next year, and it's just one photo a day for, there's that bump, crawling up the stairs,
Yeah.
And, that's a way that you could just, and it doesn't have to be a month. It could be like a week in time, or 2 weeks or something like that. But actually when we moved to New York, because January is not that interesting in New York because there's a lot of snow. I did it actually in summer, and this book is like a photo a day for our first American summer.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote, our first American summer. And look, I am a photographer, so I do get a bit creative.
They are very creative.
But, I did get great. But there was my daughter's 4th birthday. There's that bump on her 4th birthday. So if I hadn't done this photo a day project, I probably would still not have these pictures printed as a photographer myself. Because like a doctor, we are like, that smokes. Us photographers are like...
Thank you so much for joining me for today's Simply Happy conversation. If you find yourself wasting precious time searching for misplaced items and wishing for a more organized life, then you need my 5-minute declutter ebook, the ultimate guide to quick and easy organizing solutions for a clutter-free and happy home. Forget about spending months KonMariing your house. These fun solutions are designed to give you immediate results in under 5 minutes. Head over to Simply Happy in the resource section and download your free copy and start seeing results in minutes. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.